Welcome to Coffee Charge Conversations here at Real Global Productions. Today we are joined by a good friend of mine who I've known for a long time, who is now a tattoo artist, Tatum Catano.
Hi, Mike.
You and I have known each other, I think you mentioned, since grade 4.
Yeah, when I moved to the school
So it's been...
through varsity
We're
and
8 years out
everything.
of school now,
Wow,
which is
man.
crazy to think.
Yeah,
2 years, it's our 10-year reunion.
yeah,
But yeah, I think we've always just got on well, and
yeah,
certain people in your life just, you seem to cross paths
yeah,
quite
a lot,
often.
a lot. Especially
Um,
during university and everything.
100%. We've
Yeah.
always just stayed in each other's life somehow, and I
Yeah.
think that's really special, and we've always had like a good connection.
Yeah.
How did you find the ice bath today?
Oh, the ice baths was tough. I won't lie. It was very tough. Like, I think I prepared myself for it from what you told me and everything. And I got in, and as I got in, I was like, okay, this is fine. This is going to be fine. And like 10 seconds hit, and I was like, no. And then lasted a minute at least. But when I got out, I felt good. Nice and fresh, yeah.
Well, I think you handled it perfectly.
Thanks, Mike.
I
I'm going back to try it again, though. We'll see how it goes the second time.
And I think the main thing is you did it.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say that they do things, but I saw a thing the other day, you only really make a decision once you take action.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's more of just a thought.
And I was second guessing the ice bath last night. I won't lie, but I did it. So.
But were. I mean, obviously, your mind plays tricks on you sometimes.
Yeah.
And
I think when that impulse thought comes, you're like, you just gotta fight through it. Yeah.
And a lot of people think, oh, Mike does, like a lot of people that I've spoken to think that I'm so comfortable doing it now. I still get that fear every single time I do it, and my mind just wants to tell me to jump out as
I think it's
soon as
good
I'm
for
in.
like disciplining your mind and stuff, you know, like when things get tough throughout life, you can use that same lesson and just push past it, which is something that's nice. I think that's why I want to try it again, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned you an overthinker at times.
Yeah, definitely.
So did that help at all today?
It did. Like I got it was really tough, but at the same time, like I made it further than I thought I would, because like you said, as I got in and I felt that feeling, like those thoughts started coming through, and I was just pushing past them, being like, no, just keep going. So I'm glad I did it. I feel like I did accomplish more than I thought I would. So I'm glad with it. Yeah, kind of just causes you to just quiet down your mind and just breathe through it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And in school, I always knew you to be quite artistic.
Yeah.
When did you first realize when you had like a knack for art, or it was something that you enjoyed?
I can't say, hey, like genuinely since as long as I can remember, I've loved art and just anything to do with being creative. Like I remember as a kid, like finding random wires or whatever, because my dad would take me to work and I'd just try and make something out of it. So, but I'd say I actually started my art career in grade 2. You know, we used to have those
starting a career in grade 2.
We used to have like those book drives at school and stuff.
Yes.
I'd take the books and tear out exam pad paper and I'd trace on the books. And then I would have my own paper and I'd draw it and shade it and everything. And then I would sell them for 5 Rand. And that was at my old school in grade 2. So I was like, literally since like then, I've been wanting to do it to make money and kind of just as a living. So I always knew, like throughout school, I always knew that art was what I wanted to go into. It's a much of a risk, but at the same time, like I wasn't interested in anything else. So yeah, I mean, forever, because also my family is very artistic, you know, and my mom as well. She was amazing at art and drawing and stuff. So I think it's just something I grew up in. So since I was exposed to it, I loved it. Yeah.
I think that's super cool. How, well, even from grade 2, you seeing it as something that you're passionate about, something that you love, but also you can make a bit of money on the side.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think in society, not as much today, but perhaps in the past, art was seen as something that's more of a hobby.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with a lot of parents. I think they thought it was really cool that their kids were doing art, but they kind of treated it as a hobby.
Yeah.
And it's actually like a passion for you, but also it's a way for you to
kind of release a bit. That's like what you were saying now about like parents being, seeing it as a kid's hobby and all. That's one thing where I am so lucky. Like since I was young, my parents, my mom especially, like saw something in me and just kind of pushed me into doing what I loved. Like my parents were very big on pushing us to do what we love despite anything. Like I remember when I was going to apply to universities and everything, and I got accepted for art and all, I was second guessing everything. I was thinking, like, I don't know any artists who aren't struggling or anything. I was like, maybe I should go into something more practical, because at the time everyone around me was. And my mom is the one who said to me, like, no, you're doing art, like you don't have a choice kind of thing. And I was like, you don't get parents like that. Like you get parents telling you like, no, you have to do accounting or business but for my parents, it was like the art. And I think it's because they saw that it made me happy. So in that regard, like through those times where I had my doubts, my family definitely like pushed me through it, because I think if you're passionate about anything, you can make it a job, the passion is what makes you happy and push harder. So I'm very grateful that I have been led down this road.
And I think a lot of people do struggle with that. They find something that they really enjoy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's even a sport that they're quite good at.
Yeah.
But then quite quickly they start to go, oh, well, how am I going to make this a career? How am I going to make this a full-time job? How am I actually going to make a living out of this? But I think with art, you have to push the boundaries in a way, like you said that your mom told you.
Yeah.
But in pushing the boundaries, there comes a lot of criticism.
Yeah, definitely.
As well. Have you ever faced that when you make artwork and, maybe it was something where you had to show a certain side of yourself and people didn't agree with it?
No, definitely. I think, that's what I explored throughout my studies when I studied art, because, they kind of challenge you to push the boundaries a lot. And in that way, they taught us that, your art making is personal and everything. But once you create the project, like, it's not yours anymore. It's out there for people to criticize and feel what they want to feel. So, I can't say I've never had criticism on my work, but at the same time, criticism is the best for me. I love to have criticism on my work because that's what gets me to see things I don't usually see and to push further. So there's been a lot of criticism in that aspect, and also the aspect of me taking art. The first thing is when I tell people like, oh, I'm a tattoo artist, or oh, I'm studying art, they give you that look, oh, and you, what are you doing? It's like, so there's a lot of those awkward conversations, I think, but at the same time, I just try not to let it get to me, because there's no need for me to kind of prove myself to someone who doesn't know what it means to me,
And as someone who overthinks, that's quite hard to do.
Yeah, definitely. I have my moments. I have a lot of those moments of doubt and just, and then I realize, what am I overthinking? It's what other people are thinking. It's not what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I know who I am in this way, so it's a constant mental struggle, because like, art, it's personal. It is. So it's hard having your work be your personal life at the same time and kind of differentiate between the two. But at the same time, I love it in the sense that every single day, like I wake up, I'm growing in some way, just through my art. Like in some way, I have these mental struggles and I just push past them. So instead of seeing them in a negative way, I use them moving forward, which it's helped me, And I think that started when I started my studies, It was just a case of fighting off the negative thoughts,
Yeah. And I think it's easy to get those negative thoughts. I sometimes felt in the beginning, not to say that I'm 100% the most comfortable podcaster in the world, but when I first started, I did feel like sometimes I was giving answers that I wanted other people or that I thought other people wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And I think when you do give that genuine, honest side of yourself, people can tell. It's like an energy that they can
Yeah, definitely,
sense.
definitely.
And with art, I think you have to, from my opinion, I would say that you have to have a certain level of vulnerability
Yeah.
in order to produce your best work.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's a lot of times, like say throughout painting and things like that, where I want to create something because it's going to look cool and because I've seen it do this and that. And whenever I try paintings like that, it doesn't work, or art like that, it doesn't work. You have to kind of dig deep in the way that it has to be important to you. And in that way, it's vulnerable, you know? So it definitely is. Like, you kind of have to open yourself up to create the best. And I am lucky with that in the sense that I am an open person. Like, I've always been very social and open. So it works for me in the way that, like, I feel like I have an outlet daily in terms of my art. So I enjoy it a lot, especially with my job, like meeting new people every day, talking to new people about their life every day, you know. It helps me stay vulnerable throughout the making of my art. So yeah, definitely.
But being open also comes with its challenges.
Yeah, true.
You know,
true.
if you're open to everyone, you know, you want to be authentic, but I'm sure there's certain people or certain situations where you might not be able to give your full self.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that?
I do feel like that. I mean, especially in my work, like, you never know what client you're going to land up with on what day. And some days you can just sense that there's not going to be that nice conversation going on, or, you know, the clients may be shy or things like that. You know, on those days, I just kind of plug out, listen to music, just kind of make sure the client's comfortable and all. But at the same time, you kind of you have to gauge it. You can't just be how you are with every single person, because like you said, it's also a bit difficult being so open, because you don't know if people are going to use that against you in aspects or what, you know. So in that way, you do have to be careful, because like if I'm sitting with someone for like 6 to 8 hours a day, how much with them about my life am I allowed to share without it coming back to haunt me, kind of thing, you know. So it's difficult, but it's exciting, you know, and it forces you to trust people, knowing people might mess with you a bit or whatever. It forces you to still just be open, and whatever's going to come is going to come, which is nice. Like, I do like that, like, kind of see everyone as having a good heart, and if they decide to play with that or mess it up, then I'm still glad I was just open and trusting in that way, you know.
But well, I've always seen you as a person that has a good heart.
Thanks, Mike.
And I think even with the art that I've seen, you really do represent like a side of yourself, and you do show that vulnerability. Where do you look for creativity when maybe you're in a bit of a patch, you know, like writers have their writer's block, and I'm sure artists have the same, where they just feel like they're not getting those ideas. What do you do in those situations?
So those situations happen more often than I can tell you. Like, almost with every design I make, something like that comes up. And there's a case of, initially I try and fight it until I can get what I want. I go look for inspiration, you know, I go online, I look at other artists that I look up to, see their work. And a lot of the times that helps me, like, pulls me out of it a bit, because you see things that are so incredibly and beautifully done that it makes you so motivated to get to that level and push. But there's also sometimes where you can't, like, you're just in that kind of block and you can't help it. And the more you fight it, the more damage it does, you know. You kind of just have to separate from it for a bit. And that's what I do. Like, I'll go and realize, you know, if I'm feeling this way, it means I'm worn out. My mind is, like, overused creativity-wise, and I go spend time with the family, you know, go out, just get out of my environment and try and mix it up a bit. And then I find when I come back, like, it just starts coming to me again. So that's one thing I think people don't realize enough. Like, if you are doing art as your job kind of thing, it is very, very exhausting mentally. Like, it really is, you know. There's only so much creativity you can give to a point where it's like, it's hard to see it as fun all the time, you know.
And do you feel like people pressure you to be creative all the time?
Definitely. Like, I think people expect, because they know you're an artist and your work looks good that you put out there, I think they expect you to just be like going for it. But I don't think people see how much work you have to put in to get to that final point. Like, it doesn't just come, it takes a lot of work, a lot of trial and error. Like, I've done designs for people where I've literally changed the design like 50 times, like no joke, 50 times. So it's, I think people expect it to be perfect right off the bat, but you know, in my job, you kind of have to work with the client. You have to go back and forth until they're happy, and you need that trust from them. Because I think a lot of the times, if they see like your first idea isn't what they want, they get a bit hesitant. So you need them to like understand and trust you, and just work together until you both reach that point where you're like, okay, this is what I want done, you know. So yeah.
And so I was going through your Instagram the other day. And Catano Inc. You should definitely give it a follow.
Yeah.
But
I see go now.
you did that Cristiano Ronaldo post.
Yes, the drawing.
That was almost identical.
Oh, thanks, Michael.
And then that Russ one as well.
Yeah, the painting.
What inspired you to do that? That was
so that was actually, so when I finished studying, for 2 years I was a painter, and so I was a commission painter, so people would literally just come to me with what they'd want, and I'd put something together. So for that Russ piece, it was actually for clients as well. You know, Russ was their favorite artist. They said to me they wanted some quotes, some of the songs they like, you know, some of his branding. And I said, but other than that, they said, like, just go mad, do what you want to do. So I just played around with it. Like, it was a lot of fun, you know, especially I got to choose the quotes that I wanted in. Like, the one was race against your doubt. And for me, that's something I live by that, because like I said, as an artist, how many times do you doubt yourself? And you just got to work faster than the doubts can come through. So yeah, I put some personal touch into that painting, and I was very happy with the outcome. I mean, I remember I was just messing around. I saw some bubble wrap in the corner because my studio was very messy. Took that, painted on it, stuck it to the thing to make like those little circle effects. So it was a very fun painting. I like doing those bright kind of pop art styles.
Yeah.
Because that's where you can just let your like mind just flow, just do whatever and see what looks good, what doesn't look good. So yeah, that was very fun with those. And the drawing that was actually when I was practicing for tattooing. So I would practice by doing pen drawings, just every day for months, draw, until I was like, it was proving to be something that could turn into a tattoo eventually, you know.
And then Russ actually commented on your
he
post,
did.
Which is really cool.
Well, I'm still so happy about that. Yeah, I asked everyone, I was like, guys, tag Russ, let's get him to see it, you know. And he actually commented, with like fire emojis or something like that. And then I saw he was watching my stories as well. And then later on in the night, I like reposted some things on my story again. And I saw that he went back and rewatched it. So I was really happy, I won't lie. I actually went to see him recently. I was thinking of taking the painting with...
That's so cool.
No, it was really awesome. I think things like that, they all motivate you. It's that pat on the back, like you're doing something right, like keep going. So yeah, that was really awesome because I love his music. So
it's almost like a sign from the universe that maybe you didn't expect. I'm sure that in the beginning you didn't think Russ would even see your painting.
Never. But that's the thing, like with art, if you want to make it, you have to go and push those kind of boundaries. You have to get out of your comfort zone and ask people to look at your stuff, to post your stuff, to come for a free tattoo. You can share my stuff, you know. You have to do that as your marketing because that's the way you get clients and you get seen and people trust you. So, I mean, I've always done it since the painting days, you know. So it's fun. It's a good push. It's exciting doing projects like that. Yeah.
And how did you transition from art into, you know, actually working in the tattoo industry?
So like I said, I did painting and it came to a point where I started getting very lonely because, I mean, if you're sitting on your own every day just creating art, I said I could understand why those artists cut their ears off and things because you get very in your head, you know, and I'm a very social person. So I was thinking was a point where I was really, really second guessing my decisions. And this was years later after my degree and everything. And I thought maybe I should go into a recruitment agency, start working at jobs there, you know. And so that week I was going to start applying to places to have something a bit more secure because I wasn't enjoying the painting anymore. And that was the main reason I did it. And I was in bed one night and I just said, you know, I've always thought about tattooing. I've never actually thought I would go and do it. But like I see people doing it. It looks like easy, not easy, but it looks like, you know.
Yeah.
And that same night I messaged must be about 30 tattoo studios on Instagram, like not formally or anything, just being like, hi, are you looking for an apprentice, whatnot.
Sheesh.
And then that same week I started my apprenticeship. I started at one place, I didn't enjoy it, so then I started at another place. And yeah, it was nice and structured. I mean, I think it was for about the first 6 months. They just had me practicing drawing nonstop every day. And after each drawing, they critique it, show me what to change, what looks good in a tattoo, and kind of just shape my mind into being prepared for tattooing. And then after that, it was a few months on fake skin. It's like a silicone skin, also pig skin. I tattooed pig skin.
Okay.
And then that just felt really unethical, so I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
But it was just a one try. And then the fake skin, it's like a silicone that you tattoo. So I started with that. And then after I think about 3 months or so, I started on my first tattoo on myself, actually on my ankle here. It was my first ever tattoo. Yeah. So.
Wow.
And then, yeah, I just started finding people who would let me practice. And I mean, I didn't realize how difficult it would be. Like I said, I saw tattooing and I only really saw like line work tattoos. I was like, oh, this looks easy. This looks fun. You know, it's a quick job. And when I started, I was like, oh my word, this is something I know nothing about. And it took a lot of days of just nonstop, you know, practicing, and I fell in love with it. Like I never realized, especially in South Africa, you don't realize how many opportunities there are with tattooing and like how many boundaries you can push and how many styles you can create. And it's just, I saw it as an art and not just tattooing people. And that made me fall in love with it. And I mean, since I've started, I've never found anything as more fulfilling as it. Like I've done every medium when I studied art. I mean, we did sculptures, we did copper, we did bronze sculpting, everything, and nothing has been as enjoyable as this. So that one spontaneous decision kind of led me to my future, so I'm happy about it. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So is there more pressure in working on a person instead of a canvas?
There is so much more pressure. Like to this day, every time I start a tattoo, I'm nervous without a doubt, and I'm extremely careful. And it's a lot harder when you can feel that the client's a bit hesitant.
Yeah.
But in terms of the nerves, I mean, you can't mess up with someone's body and they're putting their trust in you
permanent.
right now. Yeah. It's very, I still get nervous, but like after the first few minutes, you just get into that flow and you love it. So it's nice. I think if you have the client's trust, you know, you just do your thing and it comes out nice. Yeah.
But you need that trust because, I mean, I'm thinking it from almost like a social media perspective. You put out a post there and people don't like it. You can always delete it.
Definitely.
It's pretty difficult with a tattoo.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why I make sure that with my client beforehand, we establish that trust between each other. They know what I'm capable of, what I'm not capable of. I let them know if I have weak spots, if there's something I'm not comfortable doing yet, etc. And, you know, it comes out in a point where they're trusting. They're like, go and do your thing. Like, I trust you. And if someone gives you that go ahead, that's when you create the best art. Like,
and you also feel a lot more comfortable. So it's not just them feeling like, oh, they're capable at their job.
Yeah.
You know, Tatum knows what she's doing. But it's also, you go, okay, I'm good at this. You don't doubt yourself as much.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I am confident in myself, but at the same time, I mean, you can never be confident until it's done, because the beginning of any tattoo or any piece of art does not look good at all. So you kind of have to trust the process mainly. Like, more than trusting yourself, just trust the process. Just do what you do. And in the end, like that last hour of tattooing, you see it come together and you're like, okay, this is coming together, you know.
Yeah.
But before that, it's just doubts and nerves, but it's fun at the same time. It's you're out of your comfort zone the whole time. So I enjoy it, definitely. Yeah.
And why do you think people would decide to get ink permanently imprinted on them?
I don't know, in all honesty. I have no idea. I think like the main part of it, I think a lot of people is kind of like the style and how it looks these days. I mean, every next person has a tattoo these days. So I think it's mainly just, it's a confidence booster for a lot of people, and I think that's why people also say, tattoos are addictive, because I think more than the actual feeling of getting tattooed, I think once you walk out of the tattoo studio, you feel good, you feel confident, you want to show people what you have on you. It's a really good feeling. And I think when you get used to it, then you're like, oh, it's that time again, and you go for another tattoo. So I think it becomes addicting in that sense. And I think that's why people get it, is either for like the style of it or something. The next thing is definitely for the meaning. I mean, I do a lot of tattoos on people where there's proper meaning, people they love, people they have loved, things like that. Matching tattoos.
People that have passed away.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of moments like that. And I'll say one thing is my favorite part of my job is doing things like that. Like doing a tattoo that brings real meaning to someone's life that they're always going to look at and feel away, So for me, that's my favorite part of the job. But otherwise, I think people get it for the art. A lot of people, they're art fanatics. And I mean, when they see something they like, they want to see it every day. So I'm not so big on tattoos myself. I mean, I have a few, but
okay.
I like doing them more than getting them. I think the commitment is still scary for me. I think as an artist myself, I'm like, now who do I trust,
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you feel like tattoos almost need to be meaningful?
Not really. Hey, I think most people would say, but I think for me, I mean, if it looks good, it looks good. Like I have a lot of clients, like I say, they come through, they don't know what they want. They're like, do whatever you want, this is your canvas. And for me, those are the pieces that have come out the best, in my opinion. Like whenever the client lets me do whatever, it comes out the best. So in those cases, I actually like it when they don't have meaning and you just kind of make it look like a piece of art in itself, you know? So, and even most of my clients say there's no meaning towards their tattoos. It's just because it looks nice.
And do they just say, you go?
A lot of the times, yeah.
Really?
A lot of the
they
time.
Don't have like a
like obviously
an
you show them
or...
and they
just come in and they say 8 hours, you go.
I think because I kind of have that realism style that they want something realistic in that aspect. So I do ask them a few questions like, do you like this? Do you like that? Blah, blah, blah. And then we go from there and I create the design, I show them. Sometimes they're completely happy with it. Other times they want 1 or 2 things changed. So like I said, you work back and forth. But some people, man, they let you do anything. So it's also a really good feeling, like having people trust you to that extent.
So if we had to like role play it.
Yeah.
How would you, if I came in now.
But Mike, it's not my work
and I'm
hours
like,
now.
Tatum, you know me, we've known each other for a long time. I want to tattoo a whole sleeve.
Yeah, okay.
What kind of questions would you ask me?
So first what I'd do is I'd show you some pictures on like the internet and stuff and try and kind of gauge what kind of a style you like. I'd ask if you like any animals, if there's any portraits you'd consider getting.
Okay, let's say I like dolphins.
Okay, you like dolphins. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like dolphins or do you like dolphins with the whole sea context, like whales, jellyfish, all of that?
I love and I'm just role playing.
Okay.
I love the ocean. The waves make me very calm.
The waves make you very calm.
Super relaxed.
Okay,
yeah.
And if you were have to pick one other like sea animal or something along those lines, what would you choose?
I think I would choose a starfish.
A starfish. And you like color? No color?
Black and definitely gray? Like color. Yeah.
Okay, and is there any geometric styles you like? Do you like geometric?
What do you mean by geometric?
Like those tattoos with all those shapes and like dot work and stuff like that.
Sure, I trust you. So
okay, so then from there I would have gathered enough to kind of place in my mind what you kind of like. Okay. Maybe we'd also have like a bit of a conversation just about yourself, and then I'll pick up things where I think we could use that in the piece. And then, I mean, in my mind now, I've sort of created a bit of a sleeve for you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, not exact, but I know in terms of angles what would look good with like the dolphin being the forefront of the image and stuff like that. So I'd put together what I think would look good. Then I'd show you, and then we'd sit together and make the changes you'd want and all of that. And then I would also probably come up with a few more questions throughout the design process where I'd just ask you about that. And there you got it. You were awesome dolphin sleeve.
I'm not brave enough to get a sleeve. So
me neither. I mean, I'm a tattoo artist, but I hate getting tattooed. I absolutely hate the feeling. So I don't know the last few hours of a tattoo, the clients are in so much pain, and
really?
I feel so bad. Like it puts me under pressure almost, because I feel horrible that every time I just poke this thing into them, they just like, you can see them twitching. So I mean, it's not a nice feeling. I don't know those people who say that it feels nice. I don't know if they're lying still to this day. Hey.
So for people who do want, let's say, a meaningful tattoo, someone's passed away, or there's someone that they always want to remember, or it's just a tattoo that means a lot to them, how would you like actually do that for them if they were scared of the pain? Where would you suggest that they get it on their body?
On their body, I would say arms is the best, like pain-wise. It's not as bad, except for your inner bicep. That's very painful. But on your arms is usually the best place to get it in terms of pain. But like how you kind of talked me through the ice bath, that's exactly what I do to every client if it's their first tattoo before the session. I tell them, like, it's going to sting a bit, but you're going to get used to the feeling very, very quickly. And then eventually it's just going to become more irritating than it is painful. And then near the end of the session, it's going to be painful. You're going to have to kind of just talk yourself through it. I'd suggest them to get something on their arms, maybe start small just so they can get used to it. But if I have clients who haven't had tattoos before, I usually start with like the tiniest bits first, so they can just adjust into the tattoo, and get used to the feeling. But I mean, almost every time I've tattooed someone for the first time, it's never as bad as what they think it is. So it's helpful when they come in expecting the worst, because then they do it and they're like, oh, like this isn't bad at all. So,
it's crazy how your mind can just build things up to such an extent that you actually don't want to do it.
That's why I say like the ice bath, like it's crazy, because in a tattoo, it's almost the same thing. Like when it gets to that point near the end of the day when it's so painful, you have to just talk yourself through it and kind of be like, it's this, and then it's on you forever. And with the ice bath, I mean, it's a similar thing. You talk yourself through it. So
and you, like you said earlier, you love what you do. I think that's very rare for most people, especially in their 20s and perhaps later in life as well. And they say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Do you feel like that?
No, definitely not. I think it's more, I've heard like people say that, and then I've also heard the case, I think it's also a quote or something, but it's like, if you love what you do, you don't like not work a day in your life, but you'll just work harder than everyone else. And like that, I definitely agree with. Like definitely, by all means, every single day it's work, it's hard, it's draining, but I love it so much that I'll work extra hours, if I have to work a Sunday, I'll work a Sunday, things like that. So I definitely feel like if you love what you do, I mean, you're really going to take it to a different level. Work-wise.
It's like almost you've got that extra gear.
Definitely.
When you're tired and, motivation only gets you so far. But sometimes you need just that extra bit.
And I think with that, like, with you saying that, I think that's what's exciting about tattooing. Because, like, in a normal job, kind of like office hours, whatever, your reward is that end of the day being done, whereas for me, like, I'll do my whole day's tattooing, and then after work I have to go home and create the designs for the client for the next day. So it's not like you're done and then you get to kind of relax. It's like you keep working, until you've accomplished the week kind of thing. But the reward I do look forward to is like, just keep pushing for the day, and then you have a whole new art piece that you've created. And for me, that reward is like my favorite part of the job. Like, after a day's work of hours, like seeing everything I've created on someone's body for life is like, it's such a rewarding feeling, and being able to share that with the clients and see their excitement, and it's a really, really good feeling at the end of the day. So like you said, it gives you that extra gear to just push through the tired moments, the tired patches, and
because no one wants to, well, I not no one, but it becomes exhausting sometimes when you working on weekends, and
Yeah.
you've got like in school, it's you work in the week and then the weekend you've got off. And sometimes I think a lot of people don't talk about when you find something you love, you actually end up making sacrifices that you didn't think you'd make.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with that. I think sacrifices are the key to it all. Like, I mean, I miss out on a lot of things, especially time with friends and family and stuff. But at the end of the day, to me, it is worth it when, I mean, like you said, we're in our 20s, now is where you start kind of working as hard as you can and pushing as hard as you can so that you don't have to in your later years. So I think I'm in that phase where, this is where, like right now in my life, the most important thing to me is my job and my career and trying to get that stable. And so those sacrifices to me are almost a no-brainer. It's like, if I want to be where I want to be, especially doing art, I have to put in those extra hours of work. And also, I mean, sometimes it's a bit frustrating, but for the most part, I'm happy to do it, knowing I can see the results coming from it. Yeah, definitely.
And I think tattoos were in like the older generation or the older society's view on tattoos was very negative. I know, for example, my grandparents who do listen to the podcast.
Okay, hi, grandparents.
So, my grandpa really doesn't like tattoos, for example. And do you think tattoos are becoming more acceptable in society? Why do you think those mindsets still exist?
I mean, I think it's definitely becoming way more acceptable. I mean, like, I can't explain like how many tattoos I've done on people's hands now, necks, all of that. And I mean, they're working in corporate, and also to me that shows that, it's changing. And it's a case of, I think now it's come to a point in society where people value you more on what you do for companies and stuff versus how you look appearance-wise. I think there's a big shift from the old days to these days.
It used to be suit and tie. You look very professional. Yes, it's suit and tie in some companies.
And now it's a case of, I mean, if you can do what you do well, like that's all they need from you. So I think the times are changing. I mean, there's still a lot of people who don't like tattoos. I mean, my parents don't. None of them have tattoos. None of them like it. So but they still extremely supportive, and love what like I do and everything. So I think you'll always have those bunch of people who are very against it. I think also a lot of religious people, they kind of frown down on it and all. And I mean, that's my main thing, with getting into the tattoo environment. I was worried to leave that aspect of art behind and just kind of create tattoos that everyone gets and whatnot, So I think with me, that's something that's also, I see a gap in the market in the way that, I really want to create something that's still seen as proper art, that's seen as myself, that's seen as stuff I would create on canvases, but now on people. So I think that's shifting in a way that, we're not doing those old, like, barbed wire, like, heart tattoo things.
I think for me, I felt that the tattoo industry was quite daunting.
Yeah, definitely.
So I didn't see it when I was younger as art. Because you'd see someone else getting a tattoo and there's heavy metal and it's,
definitely.
It's rough sometimes.
But that's what I thought. I mean, that's why I was like, oh, this will be easy, And I didn't want to go into tattooing exactly because that's how I saw it. I mean, I never saw great tattoos growing up or anything like that. Whenever I saw someone with a tattoo, it was like, doesn't look so great and all, So I think, I mean, that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to, more so than being a tattoo artist, I want to remain an artist. I want my studio to be a comfortable, safe place for clients to come and relax and, we share the day together, we bond, whatnot. More so than, just like that heavy rock music, heavy metal, you're busy piercing their skin. Like, I mean, I don't even have that many tattoos. And then the earlobes are stretched and everything. And it's like, I mean, it's intimidating. If you walk into a tattoo studio, often it's intimidating, So I kind of wanted to have that kind of soft vibe, keep it still professional in the sense that it's an art. Before anything, it's art, before tattooing and everything. So, I mean, I like the space I've created for myself now. And, I mean, if you see tattoo studios today, I mean, they've completely changed. They're beautiful and they're so artsy and it's just, I think the tattoo industry is definitely changing from what it was. A lot, definitely.
And so some people will come in and maybe they drunk or whatever, they get a tattoo, they come with all their mates, you know, and then afterwards they wake up the next morning or maybe years down the line and they go, what have I done? How do you deal with cover-ups?
I actually don't really do cover-ups. I find that a lot of the time when cover-ups are done, the people tend to hate the cover-up more than what was actually done before. It depends. I'll do it if the tattoo is quite light or if it's fixable, but I mean, otherwise you're going to do a tattoo over it. Yeah, it's going to look nice, but when the new tattoo heals, the other tattoo is going to come through again. So it's just, I don't like to work on, I like blank canvases basically, you know. Like I said, in that aspect, I'm not here to like fix things for people and whatnot. I'm more a case of creating art on them. So if it's light enough, I'm happy to. But I mean, some people come with some really massive blacked out things that they want fixed. And I'm like, I can't, like, and that's where I'll be honest with them. I'll say, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Like, you know, and then, you just go from there, I guess. Now, I mean, a lot of people, they get tattoos drunk and it's just, it's not really fixable a lot of the times. But lasering is the best thing today. I mean, I've suggested it to so many of my clients. And I mean, it's like you never had a tattoo in that spot. So I always suggest, I say laser, then come back and we'll do something awesome. Even if it's just they laser it a bit lighter. But otherwise, I'm like, just live up to the memory of the tattoo you got, I guess.
Yeah.
Like sometimes.
And I don't judge those people that go and drunk
not at all,
because
man.
I've got 2 tattoos.
Yeah, and I'm sure.
So I've got one on my right leg.
Yeah.
But you can't really see it. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. But I got the springbuck.
Yeah.
And then
I remember this one from when we were studying.
I've got For the Boys, which was like right after my honors. Oh my
gosh, I remember all of you guys going for that. Oh, my soul.
Definitely sunk quite a few beers before making that decision.
I mean, you see, I will never tattoo someone if they've drank even the day before. But, I mean, I can get the gesture. Like, you're out, you're having a good time. Like, why not do something you're going to regret? It's fun.
It's just not, not fair that they put a tattoo place right next to a jaw.
I mean, I can imagine. I mean, what was it by Jollies? There was that one. I was just, I mean, it's tempting if you have a drink and whatever. You there's no more sense of logic. You're like, it will be fun. Let's do it. So, I mean, I have so many clients that have. Literally, I'd say 80% of my clients have a tattoo that they regret somewhere. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's also, you don't have to take it so seriously,
It's all part of life.
Yeah. Look back at it as a nice memory, unless it's a matching couple tattoo. Yeah. I'm very, when my clients come.
Initials and.
Yeah, no, I say to them, I'm like, are you guys sure? Like, are you really gonna like be together forever? Like, are you sure you want this? So. I mean, it's interesting. I've had some people come and get like couple tattoos after knowing the person a month. So
wow.
I mean, people really take risks, but that's what makes it fun. I mean, I'm just there doing my job, and it's like you meet so many different kinds of people in so many different areas. So that's really awesome.
One thing that I wasn't told or that wasn't explained very well to me was how to care for my tattoo afterwards. Yes, mine were very small, so for me it wasn't as big of a thing. But I found out you can't submerge it in water or go for a swim. What kind of hygiene tips do you have?
It's like, at the end of the day, you got to think of it as it's an open wound, it's a scar. If you're going to get it in water, like in a pool or something, it's going to get infected. If you're going to be in the sun, it's going to get sunburned. It's an open wound. You need to wash it twice a day. You need to take care of it properly. But I think a lot of people, then they'll go and sit in a hot bath or something like that. The hot water is not going to be good for it while it's healing. It scabs, especially for big pieces, it scabs, and it's quite thickish scabs, So, I mean, if you're going to soak your arm for that long or wherever you've gotten tattooed, those scabs are going to come off prematurely, and it's going to take the ink with it, and it's just not going to heal well. Sure. So I think, at the end of the day, everyone approaches healing differently because artists use different supplies. They have different ways of tattooing and all. So I think at the end of the day, if you're going to artists and they give you instructions for healing, follow them to the T if you want your tattoo to look good when it's healed. I can't say the general way for healing tattoos. I can only say my way, which has worked for all the tattoos I've done. But you gotta be careful with it, man. I mean, that's why I make people sign consent forms before we tattoo them, because at the end of the day, it's an open wound. You never know how people are gonna react to the ink, to the needles, to anything like that. And at the end of the day, if they're gonna take shitty care of it and it's gonna get infected and they're gonna lose an arm or something, I mean, I don't know if those cases happen, but you can't be responsible for that. So you should take it quite seriously, you know.
So how long do you actually have to wait until you can swim in a pool, have a bath?
So it's different for...
Go in the sun.
Yeah, it's different for every person, you know, and it's different depending on the tattoo. Like if it's something small, you know, it can take like 2 weeks or so to heal. Other people, maybe a month. It completely depends on like how your skin heals. But ultimately, you'll notice like once all the scabs have fallen off and I mean that shiny kind of tint on it has gone, like it's good to go. Good to go. Yeah, as long as it's not looking like 3D, you know, where it's scabbing and fresh, and then it's good to go. Yeah.
And talking about people who might regret getting a tattoo.
Yeah.
Are there any regrets that you have in your life?
Any regrets, like in general?
Yeah.
I don't think I have any regrets actually, hey? Like if I look back now, I'm like, I think back in the day there were a few things I did regret, but I look at those moments now and I'm like, everything I've so regretted has led me to where I am. So I wouldn't say I have any regrets. I mean, I wish I'd started with the tattooing industry and everything a bit sooner than I did, because I mean, it's only been a year of me tattooing now, so... But otherwise, no, I think everything I've done has led me to the point that I am at, so... Yeah, no regrets, bro. Yeah.
And in order to get into the tattoo industry from, you know, starting art, you had to take a risk?
Yeah, no, it was a big risk because, you know, apprenticeships can last from like a year, 2 years, maybe longer, and... you're not being paid to be an apprentice, and you have to put in a lot of hours and days of work. So it was a risk, man. I didn't know if I was going to like it. I didn't know if I was going to be good at it. I didn't know if it was going to be something I could like use as a job, like stable. And it was a massive risk. I was completely out of my comfort zone, and it was a very, very intimidating space to go into, you know. You know, you go into a studio and people train you, and it's very intimidating. You're not in your comfort space, but I mean, like, if I look back now, like, I feel like I handled it the best way I could. And I just put my head down and worked every chance I got. And, yeah, man, it's led me to here. So it's intimidating for anyone. But if anyone's looking to do it, I say just go for it, man. Just shoot your shot like I did. Just message a bunch of places. Go and visit people. You know, go knock on people's doors at studios. Ask, like, it's the only way you're going to do it is to literally just do it knowing you're scared, but still doing it.
I think it's really cool how you mentioned earlier with the emails and, you know, sending out 30 emails.
It wasn't even emails, it was Instagram messages. Like, so it wasn't even so formal, but I mean, art's not formal at the end of the day, so.
But it got you to where you are now.
Yeah, it was spontaneous, but I mean,
from our discussions, it sounds like this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, which is incredible.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for now, I can say easily I want to do it forever. I don't know if that changes in a few years or whatnot. You know, I'm very on-the-go kind of person. But I'm also starting again now, actually, with some other work on the side. I've started doing some paintings and stuff, and also doing some murals for some places. So I've started back with the painting now, where I'm using it as a hobby, more as a job. So so I'm still branching out in different fields of art, doing some more drawings, and also it's nice that tattooing can be my job now. I'm secure, I'm safe, I'm happy, and then everything else, I mean, I can do behind scenes, you know.
And someone listening or watching this conversation might go, "That's so cool for Tatum. I'm so glad that she's found, you know, her passion and her job." But maybe they don't feel like they're in a place where they really enjoy what they're doing. What kind of advice would you have for someone that's feeling a little bit stuck? They know that maybe their job's not right for them, but they're just trying to, you know, pay the bills.
You know, like, obviously, like, realistically, I think a lot of people are in this position. I mean, I was in this position it was genuinely, since I got out of varsity, for 2 years, I was stressed. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to make money. And it's like, especially in your 20s, you're like, like 30 is next. You want to have kids. You want to have a family. Like, you want that security. So I understand for a lot of people, they're not really happy with where they're at. But they also need to not see it as being a forever thing. Do it like while you can. Take what you need from it security-wise. But at the end of the day, I think everyone deep down has that passion, whether it be, I don't know, filming or photography or advertising, anything, I think a lot of people go to what's safe. So use the safe net to get where you want to be. So I think people deep down in their gut, they know what they want to do. I think just it's a risk, it's scary. But if you are able to do it, just go for it, man. Because if you love what you do and if you have that faith, I mean, it will work out. It's just the road isn't easy. The road is stressful and it's full of doubt. But the happiness awaits, And I mean, it's still, I'm happy now with my job, but I still have a lot of days where I'm very insecure and I'm very worried going to work, or if I have a quiet month, I'm very overwhelmed. I'm not, tattooing is very unpredictable. You're not getting a basic salary. You're looking for clients constantly. So, I mean, it's very worrying, it's not 100% secure. You're taking a risk in whatever you do. So at the same time, I think that's what it is to do what you love. You take the risk and you do it because you love it, rather than going for that security. Because I think if you are secure, you also reach a point where you want more,
Yeah.
So,
and it's important just to have that growth mindset as well. As soon as you stop growing, you stop learning.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, for everyone out there who is maybe unhappy with where they are now, just know that it's not going to be forever and the decision is in your hands, So if you have something that's been in the back of your mind that you've been too scared to take on, like, go and take it on. I mean, we're in our 20s and we're all nervous for what's coming next. But at the same time, your 20s is when you mess up. It's when you restart, you try again, you have the ability to do that versus pushing through. And then when you're 40, you're still having the same questions in your mind,
I really like that.
Yeah. So just go for it, I think. Yeah. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out,
And in closing,
yes.
Do you believe that everything happens for a reason?
Without a doubt, yes, I definitely do. I think as cheesy as it is, it's true, I mean, all the bad things, all the good things, everything leads up to where you are now. And you may not understand where you are now, but it's leading to the next chapter in your life. So, I'm very trusting on that. Like, especially if things are hard, go through the hard time, feel what you need to feel, because that's where you're meant to be right now. And it's leading to something else. So, I also do live by that cheesy saying. But
Well, Tatum, thanks for today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
It's been so cool.
I'm glad.
And honestly, you're just so open. You so yourself. And I'll actually chat to you about this off camera. But I'm thinking of, so I bought a vision board.
Yeah.
And it would be very cool to have you give me a few ideas.
Yeah, man, let's do that.
I need a bit of creativity on that front. But I think you gave off an awesome message today that I hope a lot of people can learn from.
Yeah.
And chase your passion.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed today. So thank you. Thank you to you. Thank you to Real Global Productions.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much, Mike. I had a lovely time today, and I think it also got me thinking again. So I'm glad. And guys, just do it. If you love something, do it. That's that.
Love it.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.